Well, it's been the 1,000-pound gorilla in the room for a while, right? It's we have to sustain the project and our own lives at the same time. So revenue and income is important, and we know that's being squeezed out of everybody these days through the various ways, whether it's higher gas prices, food prices, and absolutely everything else, or whether it's just lack of good paying jobs. So we're seeing that fighting for survival, and organizations like this one have to do the same thing. So there's many guerrilla ways to do things, and I think we've already delved into some of those. So right, getting the word out and being able to sustain growth in this project is very important.
I think you hit on a really big point there, getting the word out. You know, it's like I said last week, what I did was I took that one really good meeting and just shared it with a whole lot of friends. And I got a lot of really positive responses from it. And I've got other people who are saying, you know, I'm going through it. I'm going to give you a nice written response as soon as I can. And so, you know, and even within our group, you know, it's like when you see something that's pretty cool, or a meeting that you're on, sharing it with your friends, commenting yourself, like watch the video and comment. You know, it's like when I get to 2,000 viewers, then I get to keep the Help Save Our World name. Up until then, YouTube is like, yeah, no, you're still an amateur. So, you know, and then so things start to improve, and their marketing of us will improve, and so it really is about us making those little steps, you know, like that little extra effort. It doesn't have to be funding. It doesn't have to be. It can be the simplest thing, like, oh my gosh, this was great. Check this little thing out, or, you know, I don't know, or maybe we break it up into smaller actual units of those things and then market those little units. But we definitely have got to focus on funding. And what it means to me and the destructive factors about it and everything. That I don't like money, but I know that if I don't go in this direction, then what options do we have? The other options are create a violent movement for change. And it's like, that's not an option. Or just take back the land. No, that's not an option, because yes, if the civilization collapses, then we have to go out there and stake our claim to land somewhere, you know. I mean, that's going to happen. But I believe in the positive, creative solutions as our direction to the future. I think the moment you destroy, you've lost your potential that you have if you have a growth-based system. Don't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice if we could create a conversation about money for ourselves, because I'm not particularly fond of money either, and the whole facade system that we live in. But coming up with a conversation about money that satisfies us having to deal with it, right? That's on one level. Obviously, there are some players in the game that will require money from the group, right? Just that's their bottom line. I think your idea about people contributing even small amounts, as what they used to say, sneezing, or now I think they call it influencing. Who's they? I don't know. Now it's called influencing, where, you know, I spread information about certain things and to whatever groups and the audience I have. So I think the true believers will participate in that once they have the passion and have got the connection with what we're up to. And it wouldn't hurt if the four of us on the call today did some of that every day as well. So yeah, I mean, the growth happens many ways, and we've seen some amazing meteoric rises of non-important, ridiculous things get millions and millions of views. So how do we play that system to our benefit without giving up who we are? And that our integrity is always going to be important, especially in creating a new world.
I think what you just said there is just so important, because ultimately it's about a paradigm shift to an age, a moneyless age, an age where life is what is important. And money has been one of the most destructive extraction systems to give people stock exchanges and to give them an indirect claim to the ownership and whatever of property and resources and whatever around the world. It, in many ways, has been one of the most destructive forces on our planet. And of course, being in a debt-based system based on the owners of the Federal Reserve and the production of money and the keystrokes and everything, which results in money, and then them charging an interest rate to the governments. It's like you could never repay that debt, because you will always, it's a debt-based system. You can never pay back the money and the interest. It just cannot be done. So we're basically all being enslaved to the monetary system. And of course, with the rising prices of property and the escalation of costs of goods and services and taxation and all of these things make it impossible for us to buy back the land that was stolen from us. We can only buy back a small percentage of it and create a paradigm shift. And then everyone is like, oh my gosh. And then the coin flips and everyone is like, oh, no more money. Let's not work within that bartering and trading system, because that is where the downfall begins. So our credibility and being authentic and so on, for us to even ask for money, are we being authentic? And that's scary, because you're going to get people who are going to immediately turn around and say, they just care about money and they don't care about you. And it's like, no, that's not true. It's like, so that's the catch-22. That's the place that we're at. So that's why donate if you can, donate if you want to make a difference. But I'm not forcing you or begging you for money. If we want to do it within this paradigm, without protesting and violence and wars and blah, 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 all of that, then we have to sort of like come up with a compromise. And for me, that's a difficult thing. Alex?
We're creating a bridge to get to a system that is sustainable and reliable worldwide. And that bridge requires tools, and the tools that are available to us are unfortunately part of the current system that is available to us, and that includes money. We will get to a point where money is no longer required to produce, to go forth into the future that we desire, we deserve. But to get there, part of the bridge is utilizing the tools that we have. It's really important, I think, to share and post and all that. But these meetings are hour-long meetings, some 45, some 30-minute meetings, once edited and cleaned up and everything. And that's a big chunk of time for anybody facing or wanting to even be a part of an organization to sit and watch, especially conversations between different people and their points of view and things like that. Not that, we aren't all contributing valuable information to this cause at any given time throughout the last 98 videos. But it's important, I think, to find bite-sized chunks of good content and chop it up out of the videos and say, okay, I'm going to send this today. And I'm going to put it out there on Facebook and social media and everything and ask people to share. And if those bite-sized chunks aren't available, to actually come on Zoom, even if it's, by ourselves or, with one partner or two or whoever's available, to create those 5-minute videos, well-spoken 5-minute videos, cut it up and send it out. Because, anything longer than 5 minutes, I'm struggling to get through this course. But these course videos are like an hour 30 minutes each. And it's critical information for me to improve myself, self-development. But they could have created excellent content in 5 to 20-minute videos that would have improved the average human being without having to go through the normal chit chatter and the introductions and all that non-relevant content to get to the point of the actual critical information. We watch TikTok videos because it's, I wouldn't say critical information. There's nothing critical information about it, but it's short videos with an idea and they run with it for a few minutes. And recreating TikTok videos takes time and patience, and we did a short stint of it. It takes time, it takes effort, whereas we've got the content. It's available online in YouTube videos. All we need to do is find it, chop it up, and do that. I'm not saying that doesn't take time as well, but I think, being already content, it does help it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's a brilliant idea. That's been my concern because I know what my viewing habits are, and when I do research, and every now and then I'll watch a 45-minute or an hour of YouTube, but it's pretty rare. And at some point, I'll either scrub through it or I'll just give up on the idea because I don't have that time or that inclination once I get into it to stay with it. And as we know, we're a very short-term attention span civilization. I say that generally. I don't know that that's the truth for all of us, but I think it's important that we feed that and repurpose the content in a different way to make it more accessible. And as I think you inferred, if I didn't hear it correctly, it takes time to do that. You have to log the information throughout the 98 or 99 videos. You have to pull out and find those few minutes that just are salient point. You need to maybe give it an intro and an out or wrap it somehow with some text to maybe give an idea of what this video contains. And then you need to post it. So all of that does take time. And, poor Dennis will end up being a video sweatshop instead of a teacher. All right. So that's part of, and of course that becomes the group effort as well. There's an alignment over what the project is. We can pretty much farm out some of it so that nobody takes the burden like Dennis has for so long. So I think it's a great idea, and you're right. We don't have to recreate it. We just have to make sure that we have the content that we can easily extract and reformat and publish quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many marketing techniques and things like, if you've got a good short intro video and a good title and whatever, just to put as your Facebook ad, which leads to them, of course, buying into a small, cheap thing of a course. And then if they want more, they can add to their purchase and add to their purchase. So you have 3 different steps of more and more content and more sort of involvement. So there are all of these techniques and all of these marketing things that you can do. And of course, I've been going through them for years and years and years, but it ultimately comes down to me and money. It's like I run into a wall every time, it's like, But I think I have to overcome it. I've said that I'm going to use money as a bridge, but I just can never get to it because of how I feel about it. But I think having said it, I need to do it. I think that's the thing. It's like, take your small video content that's of like critical importance. It's amazing stuff, and everyone would love to know it. Create a short marketing video, paste it on Facebook, have the structure of the funnel created, and then just go through the process. And then money comes in, people come to learn, lessons happen, change happens, bam. But it all takes funding as well, of course, just to even do that, which of course is very scarce.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You have to keep your electricity on, to keep the computer running, to keep your internet connection there. You can't barter that away with, a couple of bushels of vegetables. It's just the system isn't there to support it. I mean, actually, as I said that, you can do anything if you're willing to try and be creative about it. Maybe there are ways to do that. Maybe you can have somebody else buy the internet for you. In exchange, you'll give them a bushel of organic food, every week. There are capabilities to do this, and certainly, if we ever get to the point of survivalism, which many people talk about these days, just where the world is going. If we have to go through that little conduit of survivalism to get out into what we're working in, then obviously bartering and finding other creative ways of surviving is going to be important. Now, of course, that would be the last. It's not the worst case scenario. I kind of think it might be, but if it puts us back in touch with cooperation versus aligning to the false god of the dollar or whatever currency the nation is that we're in, then maybe something can come of that and we can create what we want from it. I think in my case, and I'll speak for lots of other people who can raise their hands, we're used to when we want to get things quickly. Just give me the Reader's Digest version and then give me my diploma for having read the book. We just kind of want to have things happen quickly and without as much effort as things often take. So, we know this is not a painless process. It will require lots of long hours and lots of ups and downs and successes and failures. And then that's just our internal thing. The external forces and circumstances will impact us and our momentum from time to time. I guess my answer is we still have to keep trying with whatever resources we have at the moment and do our best. That's not my concept, by the way. Do the best you can with what you have where you are, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that whole idea of trading living systems, like growing bushels of this or that or whatever, and growing organic and whatever, are methods that are used to, I think, even create permaculture villages and so on. So if you do have excess of cabbages or whatever, instead of just returning them to compost, then taking them to a local market and selling them to get funding to be able to pay for the internet or whatever it is that you need. I think it's fine, but ultimately we should try and break up the monopolistic currencies. In other words, have local currencies to ensure that that which is taken out of the ground is reinvested into the local community. And the moment it becomes centralized and monopolized, then it is pure monopoly for the wealthy, for the owners of the monopolistic system. But while it's decentralized, it's localized and gets reintroduced into the community. So it's the energy of life supporting life within the local or locality of that community. And then it's perfectly fine because, I mean, if I eat food, then I can go and plant seeds to ensure that life goes on and expands, and I can plant more trees and so on. So a life accepts that as reasonable. And I think the currency that keeps it local is within that life, looking after life, perpetuating life is still fine. It's only the moment when it's like, oh no, we'll accept that currency. And then eventually it just becomes the dollar, or the rand or whatever. And some German guy and corporation owns the rand in Germany. And some guy, whoever it is that owns the corporation, the investors into the corporation who own the Federal Reserve currency production, which is not federal. It doesn't have anything to do with the government. It's a private corporation. So when it becomes that, and when it becomes stock exchange trading, and it's like, then the wealth is not being reintroduced into the local community. It's being extracted to make the pyramid schemes more powerful. And that's the critical difference.
Yeah. We've seen it in the tech industry where they eat their young in order to stop competition or to enhance their monopoly on whatever it is that they're up to. And certainly there's that type of people that will always be out there looking to gain off of other people's backs and other people's hardships. So yeah, that's something that needs to be attended to. And again, we're playing with answers that may or may not survive, but at least we're throwing out possibilities that if we don't, they probably won't happen. It will be a future that is undeclared and nobody's moving towards. So definitely we need to consider options against the huge monopolies and power structures that exist. And this is not a new thought. This is one of the reasons we're doing what we're doing. Is to break that so that we can become self-sufficient individuals again instead of slaves.
That's the critical thing that you just said there. It's really about the re-empowerment of life itself, the re-empowerment of the individual, the re-empowerment of community, the re-empowerment of ecosystems, living in close, tribal, connected ecosystems and living communities, which that energy and that wealth and that power and whatever has been constantly sucked away for the supremely wealthy and rich. And we've been literally driven into enslavement in cities and disempowered. So it's by going back to the land, creating the sustainable ecosystems and empowering life and ourselves that we become the future we want to live in. So it's a redistribution of wealth, a decentralization from cities, and the manifestation of a living, growing, sustainable, biodiverse ecosystem and future that we're trying to create.
I agree.
All right, well, that's it. We can call it a day at that. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a wonderful...
On that high point, yes.
Kurt, it's Father's Day here in South Africa, so I just wanted to wish you a happy Father's Day, as well as my dad. Wish you a happy Father's Day. And I hope you guys have a great afternoon/day and have an amazing time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have a
Takes
wonderful
carrying
rest of your day,
gods around the world. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, guys. Thanks so much.
Also a father here in South Africa, so happy Father's Day to all three of you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey,
Happy
there
Father's
you go.
Day, everyone. Cheers. Thanks so much.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.